November 19th, 2018, 10:47 a.m. A conference room in Los Angeles. Taylor Swift is about to sign a contract, not a record deal, not a tour agreement, a licensing agreement, 147 pages. 12 key provisions, but one clause, buried on page 47, section 7, subsection 3, will make her $1 billion. Those 16 words will generate over $1 billion in 6 years. But here's what nobody tells you. While Taylor has signed a new contract of her new recordings, every other major artist signed to a label that offers zero of their own voices, of their own songs, of the recordings they created. Taylor Swift is the only artist in the top 100 who has a unique contract deal, the only one. This isn't a story about talent. Talent doesn't make you a billionaire in music. This is a story about ownership, about one contract, one negotiation, one moment where the rules changed. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how she did it, why almost no one else can, and what it reveals about who really owns the music industry. But to understand this contract, we need to go back. June 30th, 2019. Taylor Swift wakes up to discover her entire career has been sold. Braun, the manager who represents Kanye West and Justin Bieber, has just bought Big Machine Records for $300 million, and with it, he bought something Taylor never agreed to sell, her first 6 albums. Taylor Swift 2006, Country Debut. Fearless 2008, Breakthrough. Speak Now 2010, all self-written. Red 2012, Pop Transition. 1989-2014, Full Pop Megastar. Reputation 2017, Comeback. 120 songs, the soundtrack to a generation. Love Story, 2.1 billion streams. Shake It Off, 3.3 billion streams. Blank Space, 3.1 billion streams. Were Gone, owned by someone she describes as her worst-case scenario. She posts that day.
For years I asked, pleaded for a chance to own my work. Instead, I was given an opportunity to sign back up to Big Machine Records and earn one album back at a time, one for every new one I turned in. Big Machine's offer: deliver one new album to earn back one old album. Would take 6 new albums to reclaim her past. Timeline: 12+ years of servitude. I walked away because I knew once I signed that contract, I would never be able to purchase my masters. They would just be held over my head for the next decade.
The media covers it as celebrity drama. Taylor versus Scooter, fans choose sides, the internet explodes, but everyone is missing the real story, because 7 months before Scooter bought her old masters, November 19, 2018, Taylor signs Republic Records deal. June 30, 2019, Scooter buys Big Machine. Taylor had already signed a new deal, a deal that would make what Scooter bought worthless, a deal that would change everything. But to understand why this clause is worth $1 billion, you need to understand what artists usually sign. And when you see it, you'll realize why Taylor is the only billionaire who made it from music alone in the last 20 years. Here's how it usually works. You're 18 years old. You've been singing in bars, posting covers on YouTube, grinding for years, small coffee shop performances, bedroom with makeshift recording setup, YouTube channel with low view counts, open mic nights, rejection after rejection. Then a label finds you: Sony, Universal, Warner, one of the big 3. They fly you to New York, put you in a fancy conference room, and they offer you a deal, your dream, your ticket out. And buried in page 47, section 9, in 8-point font, is this: label retains ownership of all master recordings in perpetuity. Artist receives royalty rate of 15 to 18% of net revenue after recoupable expenses. Let's translate that. 1. The label owns every recording you make, not you, them, forever. 2. You receive 15 to 18% of the profits. They keep 82 to 85%. And 3. You only get paid after they recover all their expenses. These include recording costs, almost $500,000, producer fees, $200,000 music video production, $1,500,000 radio promotion, $800,000 marketing and publicity, $1 million tour support, $300,000 total, $4,300,000. Which include costs they control: recording costs, they choose studio, most expensive; music video, they choose director, $2 million budget; radio promotion, pay-to-play, inflated costs; Marketing, they decide spend, you owe it back. And here's the beautiful part for them, you don't see one royalty check until all of that is paid back. Most artists never recoup. Which means they monetize FTOM, Spotify streams, Apple Music, radio play, commercials, movie soundtracks, TV shows, YouTube ads, TikTok licensing, because they own the master. They license it everywhere. They make money immediately, while the artist makes nothing, until recoupment, which rarely happens. And even if you do recoup, even if you sell millions of albums and fill arenas, you still don't own your music. The label does. Forever. This is why Michael Jackson, the biggest star in music history, had to buy back his own catalog. Cost him $47.5 million to own his own voice. Prince fought Warner Bros. For decades, wrote slave on his face in protest, changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol just to escape his contract. TLC sold 65 million records, filed for bankruptcy in 1995, the label made hundreds of millions. They made nothing. This isn't music industry history, this is music industry present. Beyoncé, Drake, Billie Eilish, Bad Bunny, The Weeknd, Ariana Grande, Ed Sheeran and many others. Right now today, your favorite artist probably doesn't own their masters, which means every time you stream their song, the label get 0.0034 equals to 85%. Artists get 0.0006 equals to 15%. They get 15 cents on the dollar. Every time their song is in a movie, in a commercial, in a TikTok video, same split. Forever. Now you're probably thinking, but this is how it's always been. Taylor got a better deal because she's Taylor Swift. Wrong. When Taylor signed her first deal in 2006, she got the same exploitative contract everyone else gets. Taylor's first deal, 2006. 0% ownership of masters, 15% royalty rate, all expenses recoupable, standard exploitation. 0 ownership, 15% royalties, standard industry exploitation. She wasn't special. She was trapped like everyone else. So what changed? What changed was she spent 6 years learning to read the contract, and what she found hidden in the fine print became her billion-dollar education.
For 6 years, Taylor Swift was a perfect artist. 50 million albums sold, 8 per, 1 single, 7 Grammy Awards, 3 world tour. She delivered hit after hit, sold millions, filled stadiums, and she made Big Machine Records very, very rich in 2006. $10 millions, 2008, $50 millions, 2010, $120 millions, and 2012, $200 million. Between 2006 and 2012, Taylor's music generated approximately $200 million in revenue for Big Machine album sales, $85 millions tour revenue, $60 millions merchandise, $25 millions licensing and sync, $30 millions total, $200 millions. Her share was around $30 million, $15%. Total revenue, $200 million. Taylor's share, $30 million, 15%. Big Machine's share, $170 million, 85%. And she didn't own a single master recording, but in 2010, when her contract came up for renewal, she tried to buy her masters. She went to Scott Borchetta and said, "I'll sign another album deal, 5 more albums, but I want to own my work." 5 new albums committed, same promotional obligations. Label retains distribution rights, request ownership of master recordings. He said no, not let's negotiate, not make me an offer, just no, because why would he sell the masters when they're worth more than the entire label? Taylor's 4 albums value more than $300 million. Big Machine's total value, $200 million. Her masters are label's most valuable asset.
Those 4 albums, her voice, her lyrics, her melodies, were Big Machine's crown jewel. They weren't going to let her take them. So Taylor had a choice: path 1, walk away. Start over with no back catalog, no leverage, no hits. Rebuild from nothing. Path 2, sign again. Same deal, 0 ownership. Keep making music. At least she'd still have a career. She signed. But this is where the education began. Over the next 8 years, she did something most artists never do. She learned the business. Not just the creative side, the contracts, the ownership structures, the copyright law. She hired the best entertainment lawyers not to sue anyone, to teach her. She studied how every deal was structured, who owned what, who made what, where the money actually went. She read every contract she signed, every clause, every subclause, every implication. And she realized something: the industry isn't evil, it's just a game, and she'd been playing by their rules. But in 2018, when her Big Machine contract expired again, she had a choice. As usual, Scott Borchetta offered her a new deal: earn back 1 old album for every new album she delivered. Deliver 1 new album to earn back 1 old album, 6 new albums to reclaim all 6 old albums, for a timeline of 10 to 12 years. At least she'd get something back. Most artists would take the trade deal. Partial ownership is better than no ownership. Taylor walked away. And she did something no major artist has done since Prince. She bet on herself, because she'd spent 8 years learning how to negotiate the impossible, and what she was about to demand from Republic Records would rewrite the rules for everyone. Late 2018. Taylor Swift sits across from Monty Lipman, CEO of Republic Records, part of Universal Music Group, the biggest label in the world. She's the biggest free agent in music history. Every label wants her Sony Music, $100 million offer Warner Music, $120 million offer Universal and Republic, $150 million offer Apple Music, exclusive deal interest Spotify, partnership interest, but she's not negotiating on money, she's negotiating on something no artist has successfully negotiated before: complete ownership. Here's what she demands: 1. I own all master recordings, not 50%. Not you own them, but I control them, 100%. Forever. 2. I control all licensing and use. If Coca-Cola wants Shake It Off in a commercial, they ask me, not the label. 3. I receive 100% of all revenue. Label doesn't take a percentage of my recordings, they distribute them. I pay them a distribution fee. Now you're probably thinking, why would a label agree to this? Labels make money from owning masters. That's their entire business model. This breaks it. So why did Monty Lipman say yes? 3 reasons. Reason 1, volume. Taylor Swift is one of the top-selling artists alive, even without owning her masters. If Republic distributes her albums, they make millions in distribution fees. Distribution fee, 15 to 20% of sales. Taylor's projected sales, $500 million per album cycle. Republic's cut, $75 to $100 million. No ownership required. Reason 2, catalog value. Having Taylor Swift on your label, even if you don't own the masters, makes your entire catalog more valuable to streaming services and buyers. It raises the price of everything else you do own. Reason 3, the long game. If this deal works, if Taylor proves artists can own their masters and everyone still makes money, Republic becomes the only major label offering ownership. Every top artist will want to sign with them. It's a gamble. But it's calculated, and on November 19, 2018, they sign a contract that changed everything in Taylor's music life. Within a contract, there is a unique clause 7.3 which reads as, artist retains 100% ownership of all master recordings created under this agreement in perpetuity. Taylor Swift becomes the first major artist in the modern era to own her masters from day one of a new deal. And 7 months later, when Scooter Braun buys Big Machine and her old masters, she's already built an escape route. She doesn't need those old masters, because she's about to make them obsolete. And the strategy she uses to make them obsolete will generate $500 million in just 2 years. But it will also expose something uncomfortable about the entire industry. April 9, 2021, Taylor Swift releases Fearless Taylor's Version, a note-for-note re-recording of her 2008 breakthrough album. Same songs, same arrangements. Her voice 13 years older, richer, more mature. The album debuts at number 1, sells 291,000 copies in the first week. Meanwhile, the original Fearless, the one Scooter Braun owns, its sales drop 87%. Radio stations switch to playing Taylor's version. Spotify's algorithm defaults to Taylor's version. Fans stream Taylor's version exclusively. The original masters, the one Scooter paid $300 million for, are becoming worthless. And this is just one album. Over the next 3 years, Taylor re-records 5 more albums, sells 605,000 first week, breaks records, becomes her biggest first-week sales in years. Speak Now. Taylor's version. July 2023.716 sells first week 1989. Taylor's version. October 2023 165 million sells first week. The biggest debut of 2023. Total revenue from the re-recordings, $500 million. Taylor's share, $500 million, because she owns them. 100% Scooter's share, 0. But here's where it gets really interesting. In November 2020, just 16 months after buying Taylor's masters, Scooter sells them to a private equity firm called Shamrock Holdings for $300 million, the same price he paid. He held them for 16 months and made $0 because Taylor made them worthless, and Shamrock Holdings, the new owners, immediately tried to make peace. They offered her partnership in ownership, revenue sharing, licensing, cooperation, anything to stop the re-recordings. She said no. Because this isn't about money anymore, it's about sending a message, and the message is working. In 2021. Olivia Rodrigo signs with Interscope. She negotiates ownership of her masters from day one in 2022. Bad Bunny signs with Rima's Entertainment. He owns his masters 2023. Doja Cat renegotiates with RCA. She now owns a percentage of her catalog. Taylor didn't just win for herself, she opened the door. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to talk about. Because while Taylor is worth over $1 billion from owning her work, there are thousands of artists still trapped in the old system. And the reason they're trapped reveals the darkest truth about how this industry really works. Let's talk about who can actually do what Taylor did. First, be famous before negotiating. Taylor has Grammy Awards, 200 million albums sold worldwide, 4-stadium world tour, #1 artist on the planet. When Taylor negotiated ownership with Republic, she was already the biggest star in music. She had leverage. They needed her more than she needed them. A new artist, no hits, no fan base. No proven track record, zero leverage. They have zero leverage. Second, be rich already. Re-recording 6 albums cost Taylor approximately $40 million studio time, $5 million producers, $8 million session musicians, $6 million mixing and mastering, $4 million marketing and promotion, $15 million legal fees, $2 million, total $40 million. Most artists don't have $40 million. Most artists are broke. Third, have a loyal fan base. Taylor's fans are legendary. Stream only Taylor's version boycott. The originals organize global campaigns, spend millions to support her. They'll stream Taylor's version exclusively. They'll organize boycotts. They're an army. Casual listeners stream whatever Spotify plays first. No organized loyalty, easily distracted by new artists. Most artists don't have that. Their fans will just stream whatever the algorithm serves them. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Taylor Swift's contract is brilliant. Revolutionary even, but it's not accessible to 99.9% of artists. The system is still broken. Taylor just found a way to escape it. And that's not a criticism of Taylor. She did everything right. She earned this. She deserves it. But it does reveal something about the system. The music industry isn't designed for artists to win. It's designed for labels to win. And even when an artist as powerful as Taylor Swift renegotiates the terms, it doesn't change the system. It just creates an exception. Which brings us to the real question. Why do we accept this? Why is it normal for artists to not own their work? Would we accept this in any other industry? Imagine if architects didn't own the buildings they designed. The construction company owned the design forever. The architect got 15%. Imagine if authors didn't own the books they wrote. The publisher owned the copyright forever. Imagine if developers didn't own the code they created. The tech company owned it forever. We'd call it exploitation, theft, unjust. But in music, we just call it the industry. And Taylor Swift's billion-dollar contract proves it doesn't have to be this way. It proves artists can own their work and still be profitable for everyone. It proves the system can change, but it also proves it won't change easily. Because Taylor had to become one of the biggest stars on earth to negotiate this. 12 years of exploitation, 8 years of education, $40 million investment, massive fan base. Perfect timing resulted to $1 billion. And even then, it took a betrayal, a public battle, $40 million in re-recording costs, and an army of fans to make it work. So what's the lesson? Because this isn't just a story about Taylor Swift. It's a story about ownership, leverage, and the one lesson every creative person, every worker needs to learn. Let's go back to that contract. November 19, 2018. Clause 7.3. Artist retains 100% ownership of all master recordings. Just few words that made her a billionaire.
But here's what those 16 words really mean. 1. Ownership is everything. Taylor didn't become a billionaire because she's talented. Lots of talented artists are broke. She became a billionaire because she owns her work. Ownership creates wealth. Work creates income. If you work for someone else, you get paid once. If you own something, you get paid forever. This is true in music, it's true in business, it's true in real estate, it's true in life. Own what you create, or someone else will. 2. Read the contracts carefully. Taylor spent 8 years studying contracts before she negotiated this deal. Most people don't even read what they sign. Your job contract, your apartment lease, your credit card terms, your social media terms of service. You're agreeing to terms that could cost you thousands or millions. The contract is where the power is. Read it, understand it, negotiate it, or hire someone who will. 3. Leverage is earned, not given. Taylor didn't walk into Republic Records as a new artist demanding ownership. She had no leverage then. She built leverage over 12 years, 6 albums, 10 Grammy Awards, 200 million records, sold 4 sold-out stadium world tour, cultural phenomenon status, proven commercial reliability. Then she negotiated. You can't negotiate from weakness, you negotiate from strength, and you build strength by delivering value, consistently, over time. That's how you earn the right to make demands.
4. Sometimes you have to walk away. In 2018, Big Machine offered Taylor a deal, earn back your old albums. One at a time, most artists would have taken it. A guaranteed path to partial ownership. Taylor walked away. She walked away from her entire past to own her future. And that decision cost her 120 songs, her entire catalog, her legacy, but it gave her clause 7.3. Sometimes the best deal is no deal. Sometimes you have to burn the bridge to build a new one. 5. Your value isn't what someone pays you, it's what you own. Taylor could have made $50 million a year from Big Machine forever, good money, top 1%, set for life. Instead, she chose to own everything and made $500 million in 2 years from re-recordings alone. Same work, different structure, 10 times the outcome, because wealth isn't built on income, it's built on ownership. This is why employees make good money. Founders make generational wealth, renters pay monthly, owners build equity, freelancers get paid per project, business owners get paid forever. The shift from worker to owner is the shift from survival to wealth, and Taylor Swift's contract is proof. On November 19, 2018, Taylor Swift signed a contract. One clause made her a billionaire, but the contract didn't make her rich. The contract gave her control, control over her work, control over her revenue, control over her future. And that control, multiplied by her talent and her work ethic, generated the $1 billion, which means this lesson isn't about music, it's about ownership. Whether you're an artist, a creator, an entrepreneur, or an employee, own what you create, or someone else will. Negotiate hard, read everything, build leverage, and when necessary, walk away from a bad deal to find a better one. Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't about how much money you make, it's about how much you own. Taylor Swift is a billionaire because she owns her work. You can build wealth for the same reason, own what you create. People who own the work own the wealth. The truth beneath the gold. If this changed how you think about ownership, work, and wealth, hit that like button, drop a comment. Do you own your work? Or does someone else? And if you're negotiating a contract right now, what's your clause 7.3? What's the one term you won't compromise on? Subscribe to Gilded Truth, because next week, we're investigating the contract that made Rihanna a billionaire. And it has nothing to do with music. The beauty industry deal that's even more brilliant than Taylor's. Remember, the truth is always beneath the gold, and ownership is always worth fighting for.